Hello. I'm back with another physical media update. This is going to be in three parts. I'm going to do one video per format. So this is part one, which will be the 4Ks, and just a couple of things to say. Firstly, I've actually decided to make a new rule with my collecting, which is to I'm not going to do any more blind buys. I'm not going to buy a film if I haven't already seen it and I know it's something I would want to watch, you know, more than once or twice. There's a few things in the update that that I have that were before I implemented that rule. So there are a few blind buys here, but generally they're things I've seen because basically, I've got in our house we have Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, and there's also all the free streaming services like BBC iPlayer or 4OD that have films that you can watch films on as well. And I also I'm subscribed to a sort of a mail order DVD rental things called they are still around, yes, Cinema Paradiso, and so if I can't find a film on any of the streaming platforms, I can just rent a copy from there. So there's really no. So 98% of the films I want to watch, I can watch through one of those avenues. You know, before I buy a copy. So I don't need to buy it if I haven't seen it because there's plenty of ways for me to watch stuff without actually having to buy it. Yeah, but there are a few blind buys. But on the whole, from now on, you're probably not really going to see any blind buys. So which is good because it means I have more to say about the actual films instead of just I haven't seen it but I've heard it's good. But we'll start with the 4Ks because that's the least amount of titles. Uh, Start off with I think this is the most recent one I've bought, The Martian. I haven't actually seen this since it came out in the cinema. There's an interesting story behind this. When I went to see it, uh, I was having a really horrible week. I was feeling really terrible, very depressed. And my friend Robert said, "I'm going to see The Martian. Do you want to go see it with me?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, fine. I'll go and see it." I had nothing better to do. I was, miserable, and seeing it really cheered me up. And for the longest time, I didn't want to watch it again because I didn't want to. Because I thought if I see it again, I'm not going to enjoy it as much because I'm not going to have that sort of baggage when I first saw it. So I'm not going to, I'd rather preserve the experience. But then I thought, well, actually, if I watch it again, it'll give me a chance to relive that experience. So, I mean, remember that experience more vividly, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I got this. This is the promotional copy. Basically, when the film first came out on 4K in the UK, you couldn't buy it in a shop. You could only get this promotional copy, which I think it came free with I don't know if it was Samsung or Pan. It was some sort of branded. It was a certain brand, electronics brand, and if you bought their 4K player, you could get The Martian with it. It's just the 4K disc. I think there was eventually later on they had the extended version, which came with the theatrical cut and extended cut and like an extra feature disc. But I just wanted the film itself, and I didn't really watch extended versions to be honest. So I'm quite happy with this. Yeah, and it's kind of cool to have because I said they didn't sell these in the shops. They came free to play, so they're probably not super rare, but they're probably not as common. So it's kind of cool to have it as a collectible item, maybe. Next we have one of my favourite films, Clockwork Orange, the 4K. Yeah, I had the Kubrick box set on Blu-ray, but I sold it off because they've been releasing the Kubrick. They've been starting to release the films from that in 4K. So I don't have any of the other ones yet, but I wanted to get this because it's my favourite Kubrick film, and I thought, yeah, I'll get this. And set my box set, and I will be getting the other ones soon, hopefully. Uh, all the ones that are out, and then the ones that haven't come out yet. Hopefully, I will get them. But yeah, it looks. Picture is pretty good. Much better than the Blu-ray. And for the first time, it has the 5.1 and the mono audio, which hasn't been on any format. I don't think ever in this country because it was banned on video for a long time till like the DVD came out, and then even then it was like and the video were both like the 5.1 surround sound version. So it's never been released on with the mono track in the UK, which is kind of cool. As far as I know, that is. I do have a DVD copy. The DVD copy I have, which I showed in an old video on my channel, you can look, is the sort of cool collector's edition, and that has that only has the 5.1. So yeah, but so you do get the extras. It is missing the extra disc, like the second disc that came in the box set and in the 40th anniversary version, which had the Stanley Kubrick Life in Pictures documentary and the Ehrlich Malcolm documentary. But you do get the most of the extras from the Blu-ray on here, which is nice. It's just nice to have it in better quality. Speaking of, we have another Kubrick film, Spartacus. This is actually one of my lead. This is the steelbook from HMV, the Japanese poster collection, which is like basically like steelbooks of movies where they use the Japanese poster as the cover. So there's the cover. I'm assuming that says Spartacus in Japanese, and there's another on the back. That's the cover of the regular 4K. Comes with the Japanese poster, like a reproduction. There's the 4K and the Blu-ray. Not one of my favorite Kubrick films. I actually find it quite boring, but like I say, I wanted to get all the Kubrick films on 4K, and it does have some. There are bits of this I like, and I've heard it's a very good-looking 4K, so it'll be nice to. I did watch a bit of it, and it does look very good. So, and yeah, it's nice to have those. Sort of, sometimes to just sit and watch those big, long, epic movies, on a Sunday afternoon. Next, The Thing on 4K. Yeah, this looks really good. They've messed about with the sound. It's a new DTS X audio remix, but like it's all the same. I haven't changed the sound effects or anything, but like the levels of the audio are different from the previous versions. Like the music is lower in the mix than it was before. Which I mean, I just have a soundbar, a subwoofer, so I don't have like a full surround sound. But even on that, I could tell the music was a bit lower than it normally is. So if you're a big audiophile, you like to watch films with the audio you heard in the cinema, maybe skip this. If you're not that bothered, it's not a bad mix, really, and the picture quality is very good. So I like these cover. But this is the cover of the UK version. The American version is just the standard poster. But in the UK, they actually designed the cover to look like the Studio Canal John Carpenter releases, which is kind of cool of them. So you got the 4K and the Blu-ray. Blu-ray is just the standard Universal one from like 2008 or whenever. So you do miss out on a lot of the extras from the Arrow and the Shout Factory versions, but you do get the commentary and the Terror Take Shape documentary, which are the two best extra features anyway. And you get some outtakes and the trailer, so you do get some decent extras on here. Next, we have the Star Trek. I've mentioned this that I was going to get this in previous updates. The Star Trek original 4 movie collection, which is basically Star Trek 1 to 4 on 4K. So you got the 4Ks and the Blu-rays. So that comes with the Blu-rays because it comes with the extra features. The previous Blu-ray releases of these films looked really, really poor. So even if you don't have a 4K player, get this box set because the Blu-rays use the 4K transfers and they look much nicer. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I love some parts of the franchise more than others. I do love these motion picture. I think is actually quite underrated. Star Trek 2 is the best one. Star Trek 3 I really like as well. 4, was alright. It's quite funny. That's the one where they go back in time to the 80s. The standard Paramount blank discs, which it's not my favourite, but it's quite funny. And the Blu-rays look the same basically. So yeah, I think they may have released like the Blu-rays separate, like you can get them individually. Which but it's probably easier to get the box set because you save space. But definitely, if you're a fan of Star Trek and physical media, pick this set up just because it has the best versions of these 4 films, and hopefully we'll get the rest of the Star Trek films on 4K, or at least remastered Blu-ray, because, like I say, the old transfers are really, really poor. And also, because I was in the Star Trek 4K mood, I picked up the Kelvin Timeline trilogy, the reboot movies on 4K, just the standard ace. They are missing the extra features discs that came in the American box set. It's just the 4K disc and then the movie disc from the Blu-ray, so just the disc one. So I don't think they have any extras on, which is a shame. But well, it's a nice. I just thought, these are they're not my favorite incarnation of Star Trek, but they are quite enjoyable, and I'm sure they'll look and sound really good on 4K. I think the first one has some compression issues, but the sound is apparently very good. And 2 and 3 are Into Darkness and Beyond are apparently reference quality 4Ks. So, yeah. And last of the 4Ks, we have Blade. This was on Amazon. They were selling it for like 13 quid, so I thought, I can't pass that up. I haven't seen this since I bought it on like VHS in a charity shop years ago. I think it's probably about like 10 years or so after the film came out. I found it in a charity shop on video and I watched it and I quite enjoyed it. But I don't think I've ever owned it since. Like I got rid of that tape. I got rid of all my VHS tapes, so I've not owned a copy of this since then. And yeah, rewatching it, it's really good. It's sort of I'm not the biggest fan of like the Marvel superhero film or superhero films generally, really anymore. I used to really quite like them, but I've sort of grown out of them. Not that I'm implying that they're for children, but like I mean, I liked them when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, my tastes have changed, and I don't like them so much anymore. I do quite like the comics, but just not the films for some reason. But this one's still good, still holds up. It is quite dated in places. Like you can tell it was made in the late '90s because of the music and the editing and some of the camera work. But it's charmingly dated. If you've got a fondness for that era, it can be quite charming. And yeah, it's quite an entertaining sort of film. Yeah, and gets a little overlooked because this is one of the films that helped kick off the current Marvel-dominated hellscape we live in. Because you didn't really have Marvel movies. You had like Batman, Superman, DC stuff, but then you had this and X-Men, the first X-Men and the first Spider-Man, and they were all quite successful, and they kind of kicked off movies based on Marvel comics, which led to the MCU. And X-Men and Spider-Man, they get credit for it. This one never seems to. I think people forget that this was a Marvel property as well. But yeah, really good film and a very good 4K transfer as well. So that's part one, the 4Ks. Part two will be the DVDs. So I will see you then.